Pod Apostle. Help us build the kingdom. Like, share, and subscribe. I've been thinking this morning a lot about the question, what do you want me to do for you? Again, a little exercise here. Imagine yourself standing in front of Jesus, and Jesus looks at you and says, what do you want me to do for you? And I've been, I've spent the last half hour or a little maybe more, in and out of that thought, that prayer, kind of what do you want me to do for you? So I'm going to give that to you. What are you going to say to him? And where would you go? I was thinking about St. Elizabeth of Hungary. St. Elizabeth of Hungary is our saint today. St. Elizabeth of Hungary was, the queen. She was wealthy, and but she had a heart for the poor, and she began to give away all her wealth, and her husband was okay with that, which is good. Okay, then he died, and she gave it more or less gave it all away, and she opened a hospice, and she worked in that hospice, and she died working in that hospice. St. Elizabeth of Hungary. What about a heart for the poor? Do you want a heart for the poor? Really? Do you? What do you want? What do you want? Thy kingdom come. I want your kingdom to be here, Lord. I was on that one for a little while. I want your will to be done. What do you want? What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asks. And I think that this is an appropriate meditation for us to enter into. It's an appropriate, it really goes back to this kind of very, very serious and fundamental question is, who are you? Do you even know yourself? What do you really want? And have you spent some time thinking about that? It's not an accident that Jesus is standing in front of the blind man who can't see, who doesn't know, and asking him, what do you want me to do for you? I think all of us should be right up there with the blind man saying, I want to see. I want to know what I should ask for. Because so often we don't even know. So often we're like children. We want a new toy truck. That's it, Come on, you got to want more than that. The old genie with the 3 wishes, right? What do you want? And I think there's something, again, personal, spiritual experience, really, I can say, well, I just want your kingdom to be done, whatever your will, and that's legit. That is an absolutely appropriate answer. He says, but no, now tell me something, give me something personal. And then you have to think about that some. What do you want me to do for you? Lord, I want to see. I want your will to be done. Obviously you have prayers for your children. You have prayers for your parents. You have prayers for your community, for your country. I stand at the chair there and I make up petitions. There's a great consistency to the theme of the petitions. What do you want? The people in the book of Maccabees, they were being persecuted horribly by the Greeks. I don't know how well you paid attention to that. But the Greeks took over, and you were no longer allowed to be a Jew. And if you acted like a Jew, they would persecute you to death. That's what was happening in the nation of Israel. This is the seeds of the Maccabean revolt, and we're going to be hearing a little bit more about that. I want to live an authentically and distinct Christian life. I want to live my faith truly and really, right? What do you want? And so, my sisters and brothers, you're standing before the Lord this morning, and he looks you in the eye and he says, what do you want me to do for you?